Kaizen. This is a Japanese philosophy. It is the practice of continuous and incremental improvements in all aspects. I can think of no better word to fit the legends over at Honda. From their humble beginnings of making motorcycles to go in racing, and when they go racing, they trickle down the things that they've learned, the technology and the engineering, into their performance-oriented vehicles like the NSX, the S2000, and etc., into just normal, basic cars, including the Civic and the CRX and even the Accord. These cars were amazing and engaging and reliable and feel efficient for the most part. I can think of no better word than Kaizen, the Japanese philosophy for Honda. And then in 2001, Honda graced us with their brand new platform with the Global Honda Small Car Initiative. In 2001, they unveiled the Honda Jazz, known as in the Japanese and other markets around the world. This little mighty machine sported a 1.5 liter 16-valve inline-4 known as the L15A1, making around 108 horsepower and about 105 foot-pounds of torque. Nothing to really scoff at for just a little 2,300-pound vehicle. Here in the States, we didn't get the Honda Jazz until 2007, rebranded as the Honda Fit, because nothing else really fit the name quite right. Today, we're going to talk about why the Honda Fit is just so amazing and why Kaizen is the perfect word for this vehicle and why I think it may be one of the best vehicles Honda has ever produced and maybe the best car ever. Welcome to the channel. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a long time, and also welcome back to another car review. It's been some time, so I'm finally bringing you another car review, and I'm super excited to have the best car in the world to review, the Honda Fit, okay? The first or second generation best car ever made. And why? Chassis rigidity, okay? You can click off, you can go now. Chassis rigidity is the only reason. That's it. Congratulations, goodbye. No, of course. I'm kidding. It's an amazing car, though, and we today are going to talk about why it's such a good car and why you need to grab one like before it's just too late. Because every Honda in the entire world at this point is just going up in price, and the Fit is something you need to get your hands on before it becomes way too much money. And to be honest, it's already starting, okay? These things are going for an insane amount of money, but you could still find good deals and get them extremely cheap at the same time. So don't buy from a dealership unless you want to pay like $8,000 to like, I've seen them for like $13,000 for like a clean second gen. It's getting ridiculous out there. So you need to get your hands on one of these before it's just too late. You want it as a first car? Bam, it's perfect. You want it as a project car? Boom, perfect. Race car? Have you heard of the Sunday Cup? It's outrageous, okay? It's probably how you even got to this video. So if you need something that could do anything, or you want to make it into a camping rig, I've seen that done. They're outrageous. Tons of room in the back. They're great. So let's talk about it. This is a 2007 Honda Fit. Here in the States, because we like to be just screwed, we only got the GD3, which is the first gen Honda Fit, for only 2 years. Over in Japan, they started in 2001, I believe, maybe 2000, but I believe it's 2001, and it went all the way until 2008. Here in the States, we only got it for the 07 year and the 08 year. That's it, okay? This is an 07 year, so this is the first year they came to America. Hallelujah. And then the second gen went from, I believe, 09 to 2014, something like that. Don't quote me. But the GD3 and the GE8 are the best generations for the Honda Fit. The third one is pretty good, but less good in my eyes. So what powers this puppy? A whole lot of horsepower. Under the hood of this absolute beast is the L15A1. It's a 1.5 liter 16 valve inline 4, producing a blistering 108 horsepower, 109 on a good day with some good spark plugs, and about 101, 105 foot-pounds of torque. It's a little single cam, so I'd relate it really closely to like a D series from like old Civics and such of that nature, like a D15 or a D16. And I know I'm kind of being pretty sarcastic and being, like this is like a ton of horsepower. Of course, it's not. 109 horsepower, 108 horsepower. It's not a lot of horsepower, right? You're not getting a Honda Fit to be beating anyone at all in the drag strip. It's all about reliability and gas mileage. That's all Honda really made this motor to do. And I do like to say that it hits both of those extremely well. These motors are known to go 300,000 miles plus. There's guys I've seen hit 400,000 miles on these if you do the valve adjustments and you just take care of them. And I've seen some blow up around this range. This car is my car. I got it for $2,000. It has 222,000 miles on it when I bought it. We're getting close to 225,000 miles at this point right now. So it's up there in the mileage. And you know what? I'm not very worried because it is a Fit. It's going to go a long time. And guess what? If it doesn't, replacement motors for these are still extremely cheap. And again, I am clowning on the power a little bit here. But honestly, and you can take it from me, the slow king, okay, mentally and in cars, I've owned a lot of cars and a lot of slow ones. So I could kind of be a good representation of what does the power feel like in the Honda Fit. And honestly, it kind of hits above its weight class from similar Hondas, especially in this like power point. Again, I'm going to compare it a lot to like a D15 or a D16, which again is the D series single cam, which is belt driven. This has a timing chain, which is actually really reliable and doesn't seem to have like a lot of issues. So don't be worried that it has a timing chain. It's actually quite a good thing. Comparing it, I've had, I'm going to say 3 cars that had D-Series motors, okay? I had my very first car ever that I bought for $300 was a 1989 Honda Civic DX, okay? If I can find a picture, I'll throw it up here, There it is. That had a D15B in it, okay? 1.5. It made around probably like 92 horsepower, okay? I also had a 1994 EG6 that had the famous D15B8 in it that made a blistering like 72 horsepower, okay? And then I owned a 1993 Honda Civic EX Coupe, so it was the EJ1, the hijack Civics that had the D16Z6, the VTEC, top of the line for the D series pretty much. And I could confidently say I would more put this in the ballpark of the D16Z6 than the D15s, okay? And reason for that is the torque delivery. It's actually quite impressive because since it has 109 horsepower, 108 horsepower, it does have 105 foot-pounds of torque. The D15s have nowhere near that. You know what I mean? If you have 90 horsepower, you're probably going to have like 60 foot-pounds of torque, okay? So having this thing have like plenty more torque actually benefits it in like an extreme way. And I'm not saying it's fast by any means, but getting onto like highways and such, it's not a big issue. Like, I'm not really struggling to wrap this thing out. Now, you got to go through the gears, but that's like part of the fun of owning the Honda Fit, is roaming through the gears in your little low horsepower 4-cylinder. Now, I do want to mention something very kind of important for the Honda Fit, is that it says the magic words here on the valve cover plastic piece, basically, VTEC, okay? I want to explain about this just a little bit more. It is not just normal VTEC, okay? This VTEC does not have a third lobe on the camshaft, so if I'm going to give you a tiny crash course, if I don't get this perfectly right, don't kill me, okay? I'm just stating what, my beliefs on exactly what VTEC is in a simple way. Normal VTEC from like the D16, Z6, B series, red top motors, K series, even though those got even more advanced, is there's a third lobe on the camshaft that's not in use all the time, right? So your valves, your intake and exhaust valves are performing at their normal, optimal level for fuel efficiency, gas mileage, all that fun stuff, right? And over a certain RPM, and then in later motors like the K series at a certain throttle percentage, using oil pressure and a bunch of fancy stuff, and sometimes cam timing, will actually switch over to that third, bigger camshaft lobe and will cause the valves to open up bigger, letting in more air, all that fun stuff, more suck, bang, blow, all that fun stuff, right? Causing more power, more noise, right? Especially on like the K20, Z3, where there's exhaust and intake valves that open up more, gives you a lot more sound, right? But then you got like the K24 Z7 in the 9th gen, for example. That one only has VTEC on the intake side. So exhaust doesn't get that much louder at all. Only way you're going to hear VTEC on like those is if you put an intake on it. Well, this one, it's not that, okay? This is technically iVTEC, pretty much. Intelligent VTEC, if you will. Difference is, there's no third lobe on the camshaft on the L15A1. There just isn't. So there's no VTEC crack. There's no big power bump you're going to feel. What it does, to my understanding, it is pretty much a eco VTEC, where 2 valves in the cylinder, because there's 4 valves per cylinder, are working normally. They're doing their normal thing. But there's 2 other valves that are working, I don't know, half, a little bit, just a little bit, to just sip on that gas and just be very efficient and just do motorcycle mileage, pretty much. When VTEC kicks in, those 2 valves open up to full capacity. So sure, it's kind of doing a similar thing with valves, hence variable timing, electronic control with the valves. That's what VTEC is. So yes, it sort of is, but it's not causing the valves to open up more, causing more power. It's just causing the other 2 valves that weren't doing their job to do their job. So no real VTEC in the L15A1. Want to put that out there. If you're looking for a more true VTEC, go to the 2nd gen, the GE8. That one actually has a third lobe on the camshaft, and it produces like 10 more horsepower. And if you put an intake on that one, it actually sounds a lot like a K series. It sounds pretty cool. 1st gen does not. That's one of its big sads, to be honest. Even with that being said, I just wanted to put that out there. If you're getting this for like as a performance car, a track car, I wanted you to know, right? But it's a absolutely fantastic car, and it's extremely reliable. Okay, again, this car is at 222,000 miles, and I bought this car from a painter, and he did not work on cars. He didn't take care of his cars. He literally used this thing as a daily beater that he literally did like nothing to. Right? He never fixed it, never worked on it. He got in, turned the key, it started every time, and he drove it. And that's exactly what these cars are quite literally made to do. So you're going to run into that quite a lot. So the fact a lot of them aren't more run down is quite shocking, okay? So I did have to do some repairs when I bought the car, but it has literally never left me stranded. I drive 30 miles to work one way, so I do a 60-mile trip every single day. So what, that's 100 and... No, not 100. That's like 300 miles every single week commuting in this car so far, and it's been doing me fantastic. Literally no problems, okay, other than the problems that will need to be fixed, and that includes a clutch, okay? Now, what are some problems with these cars that tend to like go wrong, go bad, and they need fixed on these? A lot of times, it's because people aren't replacing stuff. Okay, so obviously do your oil. Other than that though, it's just do your oil changes. Okay, do your oil changes every like 5,000 to 7,000 miles. Okay, they go quite some time without needing a good oil change. But the big one that a lot of people just don't do, and every year you're technically supposed to do this, is a valve adjustment. Valve adjustments on these are quite important. Over time, especially the exhaust valves will get pretty damn tight, and you will start losing gas mileage. That's what happened with this car. I've literally never got under 30 miles a gallon in this car, except for the very first tank. That's because I didn't do the valve adjustments yet. I think I got like 28 miles a gallon, okay? At this point, I got 34 miles per gallon. That was my average. And there's some highway in there, but it's a lot of just putting around town and like back roads. So 34 miles a gallon. I average anywhere from 35 to 31 miles per gallon, depending on how hard I'm pushing on the accelerator pedal for an extended amount of time. So absolutely fantastic mileage. These things EPA rated at about 28 city and 38, 39 highway. And I can say that is correct. I have done one trip to the coast, a whole day. I got 360 something miles to one tank, and it was a 38 miles per gallon average. So it was an awesome day. It was $26 to fill it up for an entire day at the coast. It was awesome. But valve adjustments are very important for these cars, and no one ever does them unless you bought it from someone that really knows fits and really likes fits and just knows a lot about them. So make sure you do your valve adjustment and a valve cover gasket while you're in there. Why not? The next thing, and really the only other thing that really goes wrong on these a lot of times, is the spark plugs and the coil packs. These cars are known for pre-ignition. Okay, they have ignition problems. This weak coil packs from factory and all that fun stuff. So I have replaced these coil packs with NGKs, and I did replace the spark plugs. I would recommend. This is from Seb Garage. This guy's basically the dad of fits. He's Fit Dad, and he recommends Denso IK22 spark plugs, which I did do, which is a colder step plug. And it helps with pre-detonation and all that stuff. And I'm not even kidding. I swear I felt a power bump. When you have 108, 109 horsepower, you're going to feel every bit of power bumping. But other than that, these things just go forever. And really, I would recommend getting NGK coil packs. Honda wants an absolute arm and a leg. You know me, I like to get OEM as much as I can. Honda wanted $800 for 4 coil packs for the Honda Fit, and I said not gonna happen. So $220 later, NGKs, I'm fine with that. Other than that, they just go a long time. But I do want to tell you one glaring thing before we go over what's done to this car and go for our drive tomorrow, since it's already getting dark and I'm struggling with some lighting here. And that is clutches. I swear, most Honda Fits on the marketplace that are below like $3,000 all need clutches, okay? And I'm going to tell you some problems with that. First of all, the clutch is kind of a weak clutch. It's a tiny little baby clutch, right? So if you get a lot of people that just abuse the hell out of them, because let's face it, a lot of people, when they bought these cars, they're really cheap, and it might have been their first car, might have been their first manual. Beat the hell out of these clutches, or just never replace them in 224,000 miles, so they're beat to hell. But also, the throwout bearings and such can wear out before even the clutch does. But the big one, before you even replace the clutch, okay, is I would get a clutch delay valve delete from Seb Garage, okay? Honda implemented a clutch delay valve in the Honda Fit, kind of like the 8th Gen Civic Si. With Si, you could kind of just tune it out. I'm not sure you can with these, and a lot of people just don't even tune these because obviously the Honda Fit. And it's absolutely terrible. I think Honda put it in to prevent from like banging gears and all that stuff, which is ridiculous since it is a Honda product. People are going to do that anyway. But it causes issues to make the clutch feel very inconsistent, very mushy, and it feels like the engagement for the clutch is in a bunch of different spots than it should be. So I would, before you go shell out hundreds or $1,000 or whatever on a new clutch and all that work, buy the clutch valve delete for $80, and if it fixes the issue, bada bing, bada boom, you're good to go. But this clutch, I don't think has ever been done, and it chatters pretty good, and the throw-up bearing is making some noise, so I just know that it needs a new clutch anyway. But you know your boy, we're going lightweight flywheel, we're going Exetti, we're going hybrid racing stuff. We're going to make this thing a mod, not just a replacement. And I do want to give a warning to clutch shopping. Like, for example, the Fit Reddit, man, everyone has an opinion to say about what clutch to buy, which one you need, yada, yada, yada. It's not that deep, even though it kind of is. I'm just going to give you step by step. What clutch should you buy? The OEM one, it's fine. Maybe buy the OEM one, even though it's kind of weak, okay? So you can just buy the OEM one. You could buy Exetti, which is what I went with. But believe it or not, because I go with Exetti with pretty much all clutches I buy, unless I buy competition clutch for like my Miata. The Exetti one has some issues. It is a spring clutch. It's stock clutch size. The springs on that clutch cannot take a lot of power. All right, so if you're going to plan to like boost your Fit, don't go with the Exetti. It'll just destroy itself. But this car is not getting boosted, so I don't have that issue. The Exetti retains stock feeling, factory clutch feel, and it feels nice. Problem is the throw-up bearing and pilot bearing in the Exetti clutch kit is absolute trash, and do not use them, okay? So I actually went with OEM throw-up bearing, pilot bearing, and rear main seal with the Exetti disc and pressure plate. Plus, if you go Exetti, it is the stock clutch size, so if you want to go lightweight flywheel from, like, I don't know, Finanza, get the Exetti so it's all stock and everything will fit, hopefully. Maybe watch that video in like a month and maybe it won't work. The GD3 has an unexpected positive over the GE8, where the GD3, this one here, you could put a lightweight flywheel on them. The GE8, you cannot put a lightweight flywheel on. It'll throw limp code. It'll go into limp mode. It'll throw codes. It does not like lightweight flywheels. But the GD3 apparently does not care about a lightweight flywheel. So have fun with that one. You can go with other clutches like Luke, L-U-K, Luke. But apparently it's a springless clutch, I believe, so it's pretty on-offy, and there's some other ones that are just really beefy, and it's just so annoying, especially a Fit. It's probably going to be a daily driver, and they're just really, really expensive. And a lot of them go bigger, and you could even get D16 clutches for these things, but again, they're bigger, so I don't think you can get that lightweight flywheel on it or anything, and apparently the clutch feel kind of feels a little wonky with like a bigger clutch, so I would recommend going like Exetti, something like that. Other than that, let's talk about what's done to this car real quick before we get into the drive tomorrow and before I lose every bit of light. What's done to this car is two things. That's it. Other than that, it is a absolutely stock car. You guys get a stock car review. Can you believe that? It has wheels, believe it or not. These are not the stock wheels. And it has a HKS muffler, which makes the tone really nice, but it does not make it loud in even the slightest bit. It sounds actually really dang good, okay? These are Rotoslip reps or Rotoslips. I actually don't know whoever put them on. It's those ones. They're 15 by 6 or 15 by 6.5. I think 6.5. But other than that, it has a really crappy tent job done by 2 owners ago. But I do appreciate the effort, and I do like the tint on the red. It looks really nice. But one big other issue I do want to say is paint. If you're a Honda guy, you know, okay? Hondas and like the mid 2000s to like 2012 just couldn't get paint right. So every paint in those years like peel and fade like crazy, okay? So we're going to respray the hood, get a new bumper, and get that all nice and squared away. Other than that, the paint on this car is looking all right. So with that, guys, we are going to get on the road, and we're going to go drive this thing and see what driving a 2007 Honda Fit on the road is like. All right, guys, here we are in the car. It's the very next day. Honestly, beautiful, beautiful weather. Sun is shining. It's honestly kind of like getting warm, even though it's honestly really cold. So we're gonna have to be careful on the real shady parts of the back road, since it's still gonna be, it might be icy in the corners, okay? But here on the Fit, I already got it warmed up for the most part. So I got a mic on the back of the car. Hopefully that's gonna be working. I remember back in the day, my mics are starting to be really annoying, and one was deciding not to work. So let's hope if one doesn't work, it's the back one and not the one I have on my chest right now. But here we are in the Fit. So let's go take our drive. Very, very basic stuff. I mean, like, I don't even have to really show you. We got power mirrors, shockingly, power windows. Here, auto down, not auto up though, and then all the other windows are just basic. We got tweeter right here, we got a speaker in the door, and we got speakers in the rear doors. Other than that, no more speakers. The sport model, which I did forget to mention, is there's a base and a sport model Honda Fit. Now, you could really go with either. It's not like if you get a base, you're a horrible person, okay? The sport comes with these extra tweeters, comes with like an extra like body kit, the front splitter, the side skirts. There's like a rear splitter on the rear bumper there, and then there's also fog lights. That's the big one for me. I like the fog lights. Other than that, like, that's really it. I believe the Sport has colored housings that match the color of the car. Mine does not have that. These are aftermarket headlights, which I'm actually okay with. I'm not a huge fan of the color matched housing headlights. Now, they are unique though, so of course that guy's going the way that we need to go. But they are unique. I'm just not a huge fan of them. So other than that, very, very, very basic. Old stereo. This is the thing that ages it the most. If you can see, it's busted. Most Honda Fits you will find are busted right here. So still plays music. Obviously, there's no Bluetooth, but there is an aux cable, and then I have just a Bluetooth transmitter. That's how I use my music. The speakers are not good, obviously, but to be honest, they're a little better than I would have expected from a 2007 Honda. Obviously, we got our shifter here, plenty of play. I have plenty to talk about with the shifter, so don't you worry. I will be talking about the shifter in great detail. Other than that, very, very basic. We'll talk about the seats and the drive and the steering wheel. Oh my goodness. And we do have cruise control on the Sport. The base does not have cruise control though, and no audio controls, anything fancy like that. This car doesn't have a working horn, so super, super fun there. Otherwise, let's get rocking and rolling. No center console. No center console on the Fit. Not in America. You can get a JDM center console though, and it has a center console on it. So that's cool. So if you want a cool JDM piece on your Honda Fit, get the center console. It's pretty cool. Take a nice right here. Listen to all them ponies. As you can see, it's pretty icy in these shaded areas. This is all uphill right here. So if you have a low horsepower car, it's really going to show its lack of horsepower. fifth gear. We are in top gear, if you will. Now we're just cruising along. Heel toe on this car is decently easy. Just like most Hondas, heel toe is nice and simple and easy to do. Metal placements are quite nice, quite enjoyable. Obviously not as good as the 8th Gen SI, but of course this was never made to be a sports car in any sense of the imagination. So heel toe is very possible, very easy to learn, very nice. And hell, even the stock flywheel is pretty light, so you won't have to mash the pedal to rev match. Got my own En Rouge spa corner here. Back into fifth gear. So yes, it is low power, you know, but that's all uphill right there, you know what I mean? And it does the job quite well. I don't even have, you don't gain speed going up that pretty, the GoPro never gets it right. Like, it's actually quite uphill right there. You don't gain speed by any means, but I don't lose any to where I have to downshift on that hill, unless I'm in fifth gear. First things first on impressions is the steering is very, very nice. I almost like to compare the steering on the Fit here to the EP3, the EP3 SI. It's very, very nice. The weight is perfect, right? Because it is an electronic power steering unit, like the EP3. I'd said in my review of the EP3 that it was a hydraulic power steering, and I was very wrong, and many of you guys corrected me, so I do thank you for correcting my mistake there. Nice heel toe. But the steering is very, very nice. It's the very early, you know, electronic power steering. And honestly, you'd think, you know, that makes it bad, but it's quite the opposite. It's still very, very nicely weighted for a electronic power steering rack. One of my favorite things about the EP3 SI was steering, and this is no different. It feels very weighted, and you can still feel a lot through the road and through your steering wheel, but it's not, you know, it's definitely not no power steering. It's not, you're not, you know, really just trying to turn this wheel. It's very simple, very simple. I can do it with, you know, 2 fingers, but there's some weight behind it, some heft behind it. It was actually the first thing I ever noticed when I first drove the Honda Fit, because this Fit was the first one I ever drove, you know, when I test drove it to possibly buy it. The steering was the first thing I noticed and how direct and nice it felt, actually. Next thing I noticed is the torque delivery is honestly quite impressive for 109 horsepower, you know what I mean? You know, you hear 109 horsepower and you immediately think, you know, slow turd. Not necessarily, you know what I mean? It's not fast. It's not fast, but it's a momentum car, you know, and that's exactly what you know you're getting into. It's a lot of fun. It truly is. Again, pedals are very well placed. Steering is very, very nice. And now I'm going to get to a little bit of a negative here, and that is the shifter. Not saying
it's bad because it is a Honda. At the end of the day, Honda makes really good shifting products. Their shifters have always been, top notch, very, very nice. Especially in the old 90s Civics and such of that nature. And then you hit K Series, stuff like that. Really nice shifters. I think the 9th gen shifter and the SI feel fantastic. This one leaves a little to be desired. If you've ever driven a 8th gen Civic Si and you know how that shifter feels, it's very much akin to the way that one feels. Just like the K Series, this no longer uses shift linkages to the transmission like a D Series does, right? So it's kind of funny, even though this is a single cam 1.5 liter that ranges a lot from like a D Series, how I've been comparing it to a D Series a lot in this video. It actually is a lot of technology as well from the future upcoming at K Series with the timing chain, the coil packs instead of a distributor, and also the shifter. It's no longer shifter linkages, it's shifter cables. So you actually have a plastic shifter from Honda, and they use actual cables that goes through the transmission rather than linkages or some other option. Like, because the D Series, B Series, and I think the H Series use linkages, where the K Series uses cables. And well, cables are the superior shifter for sure. But stock on stock, it doesn't feel the best. I'd say stock on stock, this feels worse than an old Honda shifter does. But the level of upgrade that you can do to it later on, if you were to feel to, is a lot higher. It's a lot higher of a ceiling. And again, I'm not saying this is bad by any means. It just has a lot of slop. This is in 5th gear. All the gears have the same amount of slop. It's a good amount. And it just feels cheap because it's plastic. There's no metal there. The springs aren't tight. The D10 springs in the transmission aren't tight. The shift selector spring is loose. The actual springs on the shifter, if there even is any springs on the shifter, are extremely loose. Honestly, in my brain, I don't even think there actually is any springs in this shifter. Again, if there is, they're super, super flimsy, and they're not going to be doing much for you. So, to me, this feels a lot like, it's not as bad as the Fiesta ST shifter. That felt like I had like a stick and some cereal. Felt cheap. It felt like a toy. It felt a lot like a toy. Where this feels a lot like, if you guys are into sim racing at all, if you know the beginner entry level wheel, the Logitech G920 or the G29, the shifter that comes with it, the plastic H shifter that comes with it, this feels a lot like that. This feels a lot like you have like a wood spoon and some like oatmeal or something. It's not super great, and it doesn't sound good either. It's a lot of plastic. You can hear it. It's not the best. So someone like me that is just super, super strict with how I like my shifters to feel in my manuals, it doesn't hit that itch quite right. Next up is the seats. I actually think the seats are quite nice. They're not bolstered well, you know what I mean? Again, this is not gonna be, I don't think Honda really envisioned this being some sort of crazy, like, enthusiast, performance-oriented vehicle. On these cars all day long just like this. But these seats are great for many reasons. I think the cloth is quite nice because I don't like leather seats personally. I like cloth. It's easier to clean. It doesn't stick to my ass when it's hot, all of this fun stuff. Doesn't burn in the summertime. But they're actually quite comfortable, they're quite soft, and like the side bolstering, especially as me, I'm a big boy, you know, I'm a big guy in a small car. Chris Farley in vehicles pretty much, because I like small cars. The bolstering, usually on old Hondas, the bolstering wears out and there's metal in the seats and it'll dig into the side of me, right? I think even skinny guys have that issue on old Hondas when the seat is just so worn out. This is actually quite bolstered on the side. It's starting to wear out. I can just feel a little bit the actual seat underneath the cushioning. But again, comparing to other Hondas, it's really nice. And also the seats that I only really showed in a quick B-roll footage, I will not really replace these seats because of the cool things that they could do. The rear seats, because the Honda Fit's really sick. When they made this car, they had to make a really low floor for structural rigidity and all that. That's what makes these cars so stiff and makes the GE8, the second gen one, even more stiff. It's just the low floor, and they reinforce the hell out of the floor. So the center of gravity on the Fit is just really, really, really low. And to make it even better, they moved the gas tank from where the rear axle would be. Most hatchbacks, where the hatch is, they moved it forward, and it's actually underneath the driver and passenger seat. So the center of gravity is also centered. You know, there's not so much on the back at all. Leaning, you know, if you stiffen this thing up with a roll bar, coilovers, the rear end rotates super fast on these cars, almost like a Fiesta ST. Lift off the rear steer is not a hard thing to do in the Fit once you get some better suspension components on these things. You can throw crap suspension at Honda Fit and it'll handle way better than it should with the crappy suspension, if that makes sense. Just like a Miata. But because they moved that gas tank up to where it's way below us, the rear seats can go flat, and I mean way flat. Squirrel, don't run this way. All right, good job. Squirrel on the road. I was worried he was going to just go like right in front of the car. But the seats can go all the way flat, and I mean all the way. So you could actually put like a whole air mattress down. And I am a 5'8" male, and I'm kind of a big boy. You can lay these seats down, put an air mattress down. I could lay in this thing with the hatch shut comfortably, and I could have another person next to me. So you can easily put the seats down, air mattress it up, and camp in this car really comfortably and easily. Also, the rear seats, the front where you sit on can go up and lock in place, so you can fit tall items in the back. It's super sick. Then there's also something called refresh mode. I really love this. This is why I will not be replacing these seats. If you push these seats all the way forward and bring the back all the way back, the front seat headrest will lean against not the headrest, you gotta take the headrest off, but the actual top of the seat here will meet up to the rear seat, and it makes like a lounge chair. If I can find a photo, I'll put it here, but it's super awesome. I really want to go to a drive-in movie with this car and put the seats in lounge mode and just have snacks and stuff in the middle and just have a really fun time. So the seats in this car, A+, like good job guys. Like not a lot of bolstering, but it's pretty soft, easy to clean, and they're just a nice place to be. And they can do a whole bunch of different like magic stuff. Hence why Honda patented them to be called the magic seats. And again, there isn't much to say. How this engine performs. see it right here. Slow but super, super fun. Brings a smile to your face, you know. You just hear that typical Honda scream and roar. I really love it very much. Super fun power delivery. Suspension, not really great. Especially this suspension is 224,000 miles old. It needs new shocks. So coilovers are in this car's future. Hopefully soon, very soon. I'm gonna go through this bridge here. That was bad. One thing I do want to complain about here. Hold on one second. Yo, we got little pops. That's awesome. There's no reason this car should sound as good as it does with just a muffler delete, like at all. One thing I do want to mention, it drives me nuts. It's probably one of my biggest complaints. Biggest complaints with this car so far has been the clutch delay valve is extremely annoying, making it inconsistent. The shifter feeling pretty cheap. And then third being the steering wheel. Okay, three things I should say. One, I don't really enjoy the look of it in the slightest. Obviously, looks are subjective. It is very period correct for Honda, you know, but I don't think it looks good at all. Two, I don't think it feels good. It's a very, very like hard, like fake leather. Maybe it's real leather. I don't really know. A pleather. It's very, very hard, and I hate the feeling, the scratchy plastic too, where you put your fingers. I don't like it. It feels gross. It looks gross. But also the biggest thing, this steering wheel goes up and down. It does not telescope, so it cannot come towards you. Cannot go away from you. Where it is where it is. You know, you can't change it. And even though I'm a short guy, for all intents and purposes, I actually sit super far back. I think it's because I drive Peterbilts for a living, you know. If you're not sitting low and far back on a Peterbilt, you're not driving it correctly. So I really think this thing needs a telescoping wheel, or I wish it did, because I like to sit super far back. I like my legs to be super stretched out, and then I'll bring my steering wheel a little closer to me. That is not an option. So I only have two options in this car. A, sit far back, keep my legs stretched out, and then I'm like reaching super far away, and it's extremely uncomfortable for me. And it's extremely uncomfortable. First of all, let me say, dream garage, please. Yes, I'll take 3, please. It's crazy cool. But, so it's like either that, arms stretched out doing this, and legs comfortable, or legs scrunched like they are now. Not super scrunched, but just more than I would like, because the seat goes really far back on this car. So feet scrunched and arms in a comfortable position. So, and if I have to make a choice, I would rather my arms have full range of motion, so I choose this. So I don't know. The wheel is my biggest gripe, and I will literally be fixing that problem today. We will be putting an aftermarket steering wheel on this car. The hub's extended, so it'll come back further, so I can slide the seat further back, going to be fantastic. Can't wait to have a wheel that I can have so I can sit back a little bit in my car. I'm tired of being scrunched. You ready for this Fast and Furious launch on the fit? Yeah! So fun. This car does it all, man. It does it all. Reliable, yes. Fuel efficient, yes. Cheap on consumables, didn't even bring that up. Cheap on brakes, cheap on fuel, cheap on tires because they're 15-inch tires. Camping rig, track car, project car, aftermarket, Really amazing community as well. Yes. First car, 10th car, yes. Do you want a whole garage of fits? Sure. Can you fit the dogs in the back and just go on a week-long trip somewhere? Yes. Like, is it engaging and fun to drive? Yes. It checks all these boxes. The only box it doesn't check is fast. No, not fast, okay? But if you want to go fast, unequal fabrication, man. Here he is. He makes a turbo kit. Here it is. Just get one of the expensive durable clutches and throw a turbo on it. Screw it. There you go. Boom. Fast, check mark. There you go. This car is just, it's amazing, okay? Should you get one? Yes, I really do. I really think you should. This car is amazing. It's only just going to go up in price as people realize, how amazing it is. People already know, but it's getting worse. More and more people are beginning to like the fit. More and more of them are, we're losing them to the ages. Time is a raging bitch. So with that being said, guys, you should get a Honda Fit. Now, will it check every box? Yeah, pretty much. Unless you really expect this thing to be some sort of luxury car or sports car. You know what I mean? You can't go in with expectations of something that it's not, and that's really anything. I mean, you can get a two-door sports car convertible and then expect to go, camping with it. That probably won't work very well. You know what I mean? So it's just don't expect things of it that it's not. But for all intents and purposes, I think it'll surprise you. I think you'll enjoy it. So, with that being said, guys, that is the review of this 2007 first generation GD3 Honda Fit. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys, maybe if this helped you, maybe determine if you wanted to get a Fit, because oh boy, I think it is just a fantastic car. It's a great daily and little project car. Go buy one and enjoy yourself. Have a great day. Peace out and stay rad, people.